Legend. That's an interesting word. Great players make great coaches, period. You could be the best X and O guy in the world. If you don't have the players, forget about it.
And great players need coaches that understand the mission. Chuck Kyle is the man whose story will be told for decades to come. In 1983, Chuck Kyle received the opportunity to lead the Wildcats football program. Fortified by the tradition created by people like Father Sullivan, John Wirtz, and Paul Nemec, Chico embraced the opportunity to bring fresh ideas, new coaches, and a game plan that would take advantage of what St. Ignatius students do best. It wouldn't happen overnight, but the time was coming for Wildcats football to be special.
He always was involved with the football team. And so then Chico was the defensive coordinator. So it just was sort of logical progression. It wasn't any big revelation. Annie was born in June of 1983. So I was a little busy with a newborn and, football, he was just doing the same thing he had always been doing. I mean, they spent tons of time down at school. Back in those days, they had to watch film on film. So they had to have a film projector, and they would go down to school like almost all day Sunday because they would be watching film together and breaking down the plays and everything. It was just like nonstop.
So the job opens up. Chico applied, I applied, Jim Michaels applied from the staff, and there were a couple pretty well-known coaches in the area who also applied. And I remember the conversation we had one day. I said, Chuck, I said, you'll probably get the job. I said, but if I get the job, would you be my defensive coordinator? He said, sure. He said, if I get the job, will you be my offensive coordinator? I said, absolutely. So as time goes by, the interviews go through, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden, he comes up to my room one day and he says, hey Nick, he says, I just got the job, would you be my offensive coordinator?
Good five, Nick. Just been a five. Just a five-man line. Right. May have been a slant.
Well, it started actually at John Carroll. That's where I first met Chico. We were fraternity brothers. And when he first saw me in the hallways, he just came up to me and he said, you're coaching football. I'll never forget it.
That's what's got to do. That's what we got to do now. That's what we got to make great plays now, okay? We just got to make our plays now. A couple things we got to do.
So I really owe everything to Coach Kyle as far as having a career here in coaching. It all comes down to Chico just coming up to me and telling me, you're coaching football.
We left the Senate. Historically, people could look back, and we were in the West Senate for a long, long time. And as soon as you did that, the schedule became very challenging because you're scheduling teams that are really state-known powerhouses. And so in realizing that, on every level of football, whether it's the technique, the conditioning, the strength training, just on and on, we had to step up. I think we had a good tradition. There's no doubt about it. But just the idea that as soon as you go independent, you're going to have a schedule that's going to be filled with really football powerhouses, and we had to learn that. And we had to learn how to work with that. So that foundation was realized. It just forced us to understand that we have smart kids. Okay, we may not be the biggest kids, we may not be the fastest guys, but we have smart kids, And we have to take advantage of that. Now, how can we do that in our program? And that was something that certainly as I became head coach, that was something I believed in. I thought we could challenge our kids to do more than just run off tackle and just pound away. We can spread people out, throw the ball, and do some things that are a little more, at that time, on the cutting edge of what was happening. A beautiful thing is, you set it up and you play a first half of football and you come in at halftime. Well, one of the beauties, and you can ask our opponents, they know this, we're going to make adjustments at halftime and our kids are going to understand it. And that's one of the really beautiful things, a compliment to the coaching staff all the time, is that the faith that they look in the eye and go, okay, coach, now we see what they're doing. What can we do now? What adjustments can we do? And they have to believe in those adjustments and put it out on the field. And that has been a major contribution to success. A number of the state championships, you can look at it, a number of them. We were behind at halftime, a number of them. We won the second half, and that was huge.
Kid that ran around that backyard, scoring all those touchdowns, he's going to live his dream tonight. But it isn't just given to you. You got to live. That's reality out there. That's reality, man. That's reality. People doubted you, fellas. People doubted you. And 20 years from now, damn it, I vote it. They're going to talk about a Sadie Nation's football team that everybody doubted, but believed in themselves and became great. Because greatness is your dream. Greatness is your dream. Let's go live it. Come on.
When Chico first took over the program, I don't think we had enough good talent across the board to be competitive, and we were working on that. Even when I first got here, when Coach Gizzi was the coach, we got out of the West Senate, and we were playing a schedule that would be comparable to the ones we're playing now, even though they were still pretty much in Greater Cleveland. I mean, at that time, Joe's was a powerhouse. Ed's was very good. Padua was very good. They were in the state championship game under Chuck Creefer, who ended up in the NFL coaching. Those are the kinds of teams we were playing back then, which would be equivalent to playing like Massillon or Akron Holborn and those kinds of teams, or teams from Philadelphia. Those are the kinds of schedule, but we didn't have that kind of talent. We had West Senate talent. Tony Antonelli was the defensive coordinator. We were putting our better kids on defense, because if you can slow them down, then maybe we can get lucky on offense a little bit. But when Chico took over, put a little bit more emphasis on the passing game. That was kind of my deal. Chico ran the running game a little bit. And matter of fact, he even coached offensive line. So it was a good blend. It was a good blend.